Apologies for the wind. It's very breezy out right now. So apologies if you hear wind in the background. But anywho, hello everyone, and welcome back to TTS Breakdown. In our last video, we got from 2 to 5, and now it's going to be talking about this. In this video, we're going to be covering from 6 to 8, and so, yeah, let's do this. Also, this is a bonus Sunday video, so you're welcome. Let's begin. So I should probably just explain this right off the bat of where we are at. This is a homeworld place of the Ultramarines chapter. This is where, now that's mostly just where they are trained and stuff. But basically, how it comes to like different chapters and stuff, instead of them being like have their own like base on a planet, no, they own like multiple planets. And this is where they live, they grow, they develop and train. This is also where the new recruits come in to grow and train at, as well as veterans to stay and tell toys to veterans to stay and essentially just talk about, back in my day I faced so many things that you can't even comprehend, and that's pretty much it. And that pretty much describes the Ultramarines.
Soon enough I should stop hearing their constant button chanting in my head. I've been hearing it for so long that I'm starting to feel like I have more travel. Don't fucking say.
I'm still sad about this idea.
Are you defying me?
No, absolutely not. I was just thinking, since the Ultramarines are one of the greatest forces in the galaxy, are you 100% certain that sending them to their doom and doing more powerful sorcerers is a good idea?
Look, my child, I know you are fucking stupid, but I'm your father, and you should never argue against your father, because he always knows best. Isn't that right?
My dad, I'm gonna prove the Emperor right now is, and apologies to my father if he ever sees this video, but I would like to contradict that sometimes, okay? Sometimes the child is right, and that's all I'm gonna say.
That's a good Custodies. Your intelligence is growing remarkably fast, just like your father's.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah.
No problem, son.
Heart-touching moment right here.
Now, prepare your cleansing equipment. My eye lobes are itching like they are infected by a bug death eater virus. Also, bring my Centauri.
Raise wet.
So, first of all, this is basically essentially Terra's government. I do not know the details of many individuals here in this picture. All I know is the guy on the far right is all about I am the law, blah blah blah. The two guys in the center, I don't even know what they do. And the guy on the far right, he is the Adeptus Mechanicus. He's like the head of everything on Mars's branch. And that just shows how big the Adeptus Mechanicus is when it comes to even Terra's government. This really reflects on how in the present times that we now have corporations like Amazon, Apple and stuff, they're sharing their voice to the government and stuff.
Survival of the Imperium of Man, such that we have never seen before. Should we outlaw the use of laxatives to everyone but us?
And this is literally how stupid it is when it comes to the government of the Imperium right here. This is literally how stupid it gets. That they would literally, like, there are like thousands of problems in Warhammer but they focus on the most smallest and stupidest things ever.
I disagree. My heroes is full of several places to go back to its last act of and the world teaches that we have to get our casualties back and fight security alive. I fear you that means there's a dark skirmish for where you original types neutralized weapons are the skills. Alright, seriously, it isn't funny anymore. First, you make fun of my aunt.
Alright, and this guy, he's just a priest. That's all. So in the past video I explained the Adeptus Ministratum, I believe, that's the religion. Keep in mind it's been a while. I really am not one of those people who pay attention to like these different subgroups and small factions of Warhammer. I'm all about that big battle, big army, big this, and mostly just tinkering with Tyranids, pretty much.
And now you send us every damn message throughout the entire Imperium. Why? Damn it, quiet now, showerhead. I can't hear you. We didn't send you the message, did we? I don't know. What was it again? I forgot. Well, if you didn't send the message, who did? Someone is obviously being very mean. Oh, stop. Like, it's see that we're having a very important discussion about the Imperium. This must be the 20,000th time you've had the discussion. 20,000 per year, transit. Max Bradley, Demon King Captain Emperors, standing good old-fashioned cold shoulder together. Well, well, perhaps we should open our county again? Oh yeah, let it out the door!
And this is how mostly there is no improvement when it comes to the Imperium, because again, this is the grim dark future.
Well, I'm gonna go back to the Imperium House and figure out which one of you improved it. Or if this message will be sent around. The ecclesiarchy is not disbanded, and that's that.
Now, the guy in the center, he is mostly nothing important. He's just a scribe who would write stuff down. That's all.
Inquisition. Very well. What name does he go by?
Now, that's the guy who was on the big chair with the legs. And those two had history.
I feel pretty refreshed now. Chain halberds truly do wonders.
My lord, I've been thinking of it. When Magnus tried to contact you, what did he try to tell you?
Are you siding with chaos now?
No, my lord. I'm just wondering. But I'm thinking. Let's say that Magnus was actually trying to warn you about your position.
Okay.
If that was the case, then Magnus would have had to send his message to you if Horus had before.
Yes.
Horus would have warned you that your champion Eraqus would have entered into the old chaos.
Right.
Eraqus wouldn't have kept that Primarch still waiting.
By the way, with everything that's going on right now that I'm talking about, we will discuss later on in the series.
As he hadn't entered your current fighters' society, there were no steps heavily handled before the battle.
Correct.
So by that logic, would this all actually be Eraqus and the involved?
Now you are just talking out of your ass. As I said earlier, everything is Magnus's fault.
Of course, my lord, you're right. I'm sorry.
By the way, while you were sending that message to the Ultramarines, did you also tell them to cut the lines left to support me?
I'm sorry, my lord. I kind of forgot about that.
Too bad later, then you should boot. Speaking of which, I need you to explain something to me.
What is it, my lord?
Why are you the only one ever visiting me?
Alright, and now we're gonna go to the next episode that will explain that.
I mean, ever since I got this text-to-speech device, I've not seen anyone but my Centauri. Some tech priests, that awful fucking Dreadnought thing, and you. Where are the rest of the Custodies? Did they all die off or something? Are you the only one left?
After the Bits were quickly death, the body being sat on the golden throne, all Custodies went into a collective depression. We all decided to stop fighting outside the planet's borders. We've never left this planet since, or to guard our sacred history.
What a bunch of pussies you are. I can manage myself, you know. I'm not a regular-ass fucking corpse.
No, of course not, my lord.
Also, that still doesn't answer my question. Where are the rest of the Custodies?
The rest are currently guarding the palace, my lord.
Well, in that case, tell them to go out and be useful instead. I didn't give them the best war gear in the Imperium for nothing.
About that, my lord. Most of us Custodies are loyalists.
Now that's also one of the things about the Custodies is compared to like the traditional Space Marines, like if we compare Custodies to Space Marines, basically, especially like Ultramarines, essentially what we're looking at here is the Custodies could destroy the Ultramarines due to the fact that they are trained heavier and that this was the Emperor's own personal army that he had available for himself. Which these things are just, trust me, taking on one of these guys in combat is like taking on a rock. No emotions, nothing.
We've never been clever in full presence like the Horse Heresy, but have also really minded use of our Imperium Armor to show that we are not evil gods. It's quite hard to explain, but
Essentially, they just was all like, you know what? I'm not wearing this golden armor. Our Emperor doesn't wear this golden armor anymore. I'm done with this. I'm just gonna relax here in the palace and guard it. And not wear any armor and barely wear any clothing. Probably like a little rag to cover up my junk. But that's it. Bye-bye.
Bring in some of the Custodies here. Some of my companions, to be exact. Do it now.
are you sure?
Do it now.
Very much.
And we'll see that flash was the Emperor's face. And that's it.
Well, here they are, my lord. Some of your other companions.
Holy shit. What in the name of terror on fucking roller skates is this?
Now, before we continue, yes, this is a JoJo's reference to Season 1 of JoJo, aka Chapter 1 of JoJo from the Stone Men. And actually it's Chapter 2, my apologies, wow. I haven't watched JoJo in over a year and already I've lost my mojo. I should feel ashamed. But yeah, these are the pillar men and stuff like that, and they've just been photoshopped with silver custodian helmets at the top. But it does bring out a good representation of what you're looking at.
I am honored to be in your presence once again.
It has truly been too long, my lord. My oily hands quiver at your voice.
So this is how you mourn the death of me, huh?
I just want you to know, my lord, this was not planned.
We don't see you much around anymore. What was your name again?
My name is...
Didn't we used to call him Little Kitten before he was elected as Emperor's own personal caretaker? Oh, I remember that little bottom anyway.
I remember now. Little Kitten, the elected one. Purring his way so far into our ranks. You weren't ever useful for anything more than sweetheart, were you? Speaking of which, my glorious overlord,
This shit is so surreal. Am I on drugs?
Kitten over here has been your caretaker for such a long time. Would you perhaps be interested if any one of your other companions were to take over as the caretaker? I do remember quite fondly that I was your favorite warrior during the Battle of Gyros 3.
The only thing I remember about that battle is that rope door, Bornarian, and fucking horse their defeat was imminent, I came along and saved the fucking day with my massive army of golden people, killing 100,000 orcs at the cost of 3 of our own.
I was in that battle as well, my lord. If you remember, we climbed on the enemy warhorse's carcass, stepped from my head in order to get to the top. Truly, I am deserving the position as your caretaker.
Yeah, and that just really demonstrates how old these guys is, because the Emperor died back in 30,000. 30,000? And if you compare that to 10,000 years later, they are still fresh looking.
I'm still not even sure why you guys are half naked. Why would I suddenly want to change my personal complaint manager? I mean, what do you even do? Stand around and clap in the house?
No, we are here to guard your holy body, my lord. Not one scratch shall reach you while we stand guard.
No scratches. Try a fucking warp and use nuke right to the face, see what happens. You are the strongest fucking warriors that exist in the Imperium. What in the fuck are you guys doing undressed inside the Imperial Palace, literally doing fuck all? When was the last time any one of you killed anything?
I killed 5 young men.
You have the best arsenal ever put together at your disposal, and you do not use it. You should be fucking ashamed, you schnookers. Now, I want you 3 fuckers to get dressed, get at least 100 other Custodies ready, start up your ships, and go do something for the Imperium. The rest of my 300 companions can stay within the Imperial Palace for now.
Very well, my lord. It shall be done. We will be back with spoils of our victory shortly.
I just noticed a tattoo on his shoulder for the first time ever of the Emperor's face. That's incredible.
What it command presence. What I wouldn't give to play some plot games with him.
Should I follow them?
No, you are staying here. I still need someone to tell me stupid shit I can complain about.
Oh,
Shut the fuck up. Anyway, tell me what Tyranids are.
well, you're not gonna like this.
And that ending was just a reference to Seinfeld. But yeah, now we're going to tack on to the Tyranids, so let's go.
So, it begins. I suppose it's time to go do something completely inexplicable. Again.
Alright, so I'm going to have to explain who that guy is. I'm not going to, because that's how mysterious he is. We'll cover it in a later episode. So as you can see, this is the Imperium of Man. Lots of hives. Please note, keep in mind, the structure of the hive city are cone-shaped. So this is just a basic area that's, in the skies. If I was to fall from that bridge, it would probably take me about 10 hours to hit the bottom of it. And these are just shrines of warriors with some holy seals and stuff. And here he is.
Hello, old friend. It brings me our guests. I haven't seen you since a little armor on Salem proper.
So that was just a reference to apparently the priest and him, they had an argument over something that's totally stupid and unimportant due to the fact that, again, I don't focus on the small matters, I focus on the big matters of Warhammer 40k. Let's continue.
discovered one of these fellows.
I could have known if you had taken her out of war when the judgment was called for, but because of you, we lost that chance.
Oh, you can never be too careful about whoever comes before you with tenderness, Ortiz. And that is why I've come here as the Inquisition's new representative.
I know you said something fast. Where's old Donkey? Time never had to get you, but what's today? We're jabbering on enough now. Why are you coming to Calabazo?
I and almost every other Inquisitor in the galaxy have received a message from Terra, telling us that the Inquisition and the Adeptus Mestorum are to...
Again, the FBI and the church to disband, which is what the Emperor did a while back.
disbanded.
Yes, we know about this message. No one here has sent it.
Well, there's no doubt it definitely came from the Emperor itself. A forgery of its seal cannot possibly be this precise. However, it's clear that the Emperor of Mankind himself wrote it. Is blasphemous. It is clearly written by a heretic hiding somewhere here on this very planet.
Being such a deluded fool will get you to a point.
Good. I see that. Having yours is at least allowing enough blood to flow through your scalp for you to understand that this situation requires mending.
So what is your purpose here exactly, Theodore? What do you intend to do? I remember the figurehead again. Whatever. Basically an auto will. The legislators have said.
So, yeah, all in all, Tyranids are from another galaxy and have come here for the sole purpose of using everything that is organic in order to grow stronger and faster. They are honestly pretty damn scary. I'm lucky to have been trained not to feel fear or anxiety over such things as a scene of imminent doom.
And you say there have been an entire 3 major wars against these creatures with loads of Imperial forces involved?
Yes, indeed. The first, second, and third Tyranid War. As I said, the most notable must have been the first Tyranid War, when they supposedly first made their entrance into my galaxy. They completely stripped the planet Tyre of all life. They're like...
Now, if you are part of like the Warhammer 40k and everything like that, there are a lot of theories that the Tyranids did not arrive at that time. They arrived extremely earlier and stuff, as well as just many things. But yeah, Tyranids are not from this galaxy. They function differently. And if I strongly would recommend stuff like showing pictures and so much information of how they function, I would strongly would recommend 2 things, which is actually, I'm very surprised by this, but by the end of this episode, I am already going to start working on a very bigger episode which is actually from the TTS universe, but it's actually called Behemoth, which is a 3-part series about discussing about just how the first contact with the Tyranids and all that jazz. And we'll just go into more detail about that when I make that video. But for now, continuing on.
the name of Tyranids.
And you said during this war they destroyed the Ultramarines, devoured their entire first company, and crippled the leader of the Ultramarines, Papa Smurf, when they first arrived. How in the name of Levan Ross's overinflated ego did that happen?
Well, yes. All Ultramarines in the galaxy were needed to beat off the assault on the crowd, but the 2 main events that are most important would be the confrontation between Narnia's power...
Papa Smurf?
Yeah. Papa Smurf and the Swarm, and the event that ended the battle in decisive Imperial victory. What the fuck is a Smurf anyway?
I can already tell this is going to be a roller coaster ride of disappointment. Tell me what happened.
Well, my Papa Smurf and the Swarm both fought one another in an epic battle with 2 independent characters. The battle was fierce, but in the end the Tyranid proved too strong for him, resulting in him being gravely wounded.
We'll go over this in more detail, and they show us this in more detail during the Behemoth scene, aka the Behemoth series, which is just a 3-part thing. And yes, that is a reference to the Black Knight when you cut off its limbs off, and it is but a scratch, a simple flesh wound.
The Ultramarines always triumph. How about you, foul Jesus?
Now, to explain two things, actually, what really happened at the battle was they knew the Tyranids were coming. They relied on orbital cannons and stuff to stop the Tyranids from invading their planet. Unfortunately, those turrets eventually got clogged up by Tyranid corpses, and then from there, the planet was just basically was about to be destroyed. But then the Ultramarines, led by that guy who I forget because again I am not good with names, and his fleet shows up with reinforcements, taking out the Tyranid ships, then making their way to the ground to defend and save their other Ultramarines. It is stated that only a handful of Space Marines survived in the darkest parts of the bunkers that they had on the planet, wearing Terminator armor and their backs against the wall. But yeah, because of that, they literally lost their first and second company, and the third with only survivals of a handful. After that, they then promoted the handful of survivors from the third company to the first company, and that's pretty much it. I also forgot about the thing about the Tyranids. You see how there's also different species of Tyranids that specialize in different battle tactics, which I am not going over because that would be a headache in and of a half, even though I bought the 8th edition codex for my iPad to read when I'm at the library. I'm taking a break. Maybe 3 to 2 hours. Listen, I do a lot of stuff in the library. Anywho, but continuing on with that. Besides that, I would say... But yeah. There are these different hive fleets. They all do different they have different battle tactics, but they all are the same thing. That's all.
Anyway, so I don't know if that can still be considered true or not. Anyway, back to the grind. Unable to stand the mere thought of losing a sacred spiritual legion on their already grievous losses, the honor guard of the first company sacrificed themselves to evacuate him.
So this guy did not even fight an overgrown fucking book Gargamel and ended up force-feeding his bodyguards to it. Wow. Continue with the story. It makes my bones rattle with condensed and overpowering amusement and joy.
Well, long story short, the main fixed up with Martin Palsmer went to command the orders of battle over Prague, but was led into a trap of forbidden world deserters. Things were looking very grim for them.
Led into a trap by a bunch of space locusts. This is dumber than those oiled-up fucking strippers I call companions.
The Emperor class battleship, Dominus Astro, valiantly charged as the Argentine fleet there, detonating its warp drives, causing a cataclysmic vortex that sucked both it and the entire Tyranid fleet into oblivion. Victory Surskis fell to the beat of my fleet there.
I am sorry. I am just absolutely living at the moment. Remind me again. Technology is pretty backwards at the moment, correct?
It has declined somewhat in your absence, yes?
And those Emperor-class battleships are pretty much irreplaceable at this point because of the sheer resources and manpower needed to make them, correct?
More or less, yes.
So this asshole officer, instead of just calling back his fleet to a more advantageous position in, fucking space, let one of those warships be lost forever in the warp for some depraved minion of chaos to find a newer outlet.
This is getting me harder than talk.
Alright, so yeah, that's essentially what is happening when it comes to like technology and stuff like that. Now, I don't know if the STC blueprint exists for these suckers that lets them rebuild them, but I would strongly say it is very difficult to make new ships due to the amount of resources, transportation of those resources, and all that jazz. But yeah, essentially, these colossal and incredible battlecruisers are lost into the warp, and then the enemies of chaos can just come in and be like, take it. And I absolutely love it that it says that, because it's just like Terminator Armor. Have you seen Terminator Armor? Let me tell ya, that's the thick boys, making them extra thick. Love me some Terminator Armor. No picker trawler is safe from me when I wear Terminator Armor.
I want you to change my orders. Tell the Ultramarines to get back madness without the Gallow Fields turned on. Let's see how they enjoy being fucked by demons.
So the Gallow Field is a protective barrier thing that protects our humanity-class vessels from the temptation of the warp, because we use the warp for travel. And without those shields on, demons can just appear and attack. So I find it very funny that he's just like, you know what? Screw it. No protection. Go into the warp.
Those poor assholes in the battleships.
Oh my.
Anyway, avoiding the subject of the Ultramarines further, these Tyranids actually sound pretty fucking fascinating. How easy my job would be if every human was just part of me and my giant intelligence, and everything we did was in perfect harmony.
And that is the Tyranids in a nutshell. It's a hive mind.
You remind me of a man I grew up with and get off of this fucking throne.
Oh, we couldn't do that. A human hive mind would surely be something fantastic to be part of.
You're just saying that because you're thoroughly trained to be my bodyguard and not ever think, nor feel, or have any other purpose in life.
That's right, my lord.
Fucking automaton. So anyway, these Tyranids come from the eastern fringe of the galaxy in large bug flesh ships and chomp the fuck out of everything they see. Yes?
Correct, my lord.
And every encounter recorded with them describes them as insect-like creatures with biological weaponry, and that they are countless in number. Right.
Yes, that's right, my lord.
Yeah, so basically, everything that they use, they don't use like metal or anything. They use biomass. So their gun is a living being that is shooting out bullets that are like living maggots that, if exposed to your skin, will burrow into your skin and kill you. Or eat you out. Essentially, like, that is how the Tyranids are. There is nothing that's mechanical. Everything is flesh, bone, and nervous system. That's it.
They come in endless streams, too numerous to count with these both minuscule and massive, all killing in their own unique and meaningful ways.
Has anyone ever considered fucking bug spray?
I'm sorry, my lord, but bug spray. What is that?
Sorry, I forgot. They stopped manufacturing those after the Dark Age of Technology.
Well, my lord, it is.
So the Dark Age of Technology is basically humanity is actually kind of the opposite. It's when humanity was constantly making products and stuff like that for improvement and everything like that. The problem is that our technology became so advanced that we didn't even know how to operate it. Which is just absolutely incredible. Like, it could be a ball that can do everything, but we only know it as a ball. We don't even know how to use the other functions of the ball. And so that's why it's called the Dark Age of Technology. Now, there are many other things that happened during the Dark Age of Technology, but this is not the time nor the place, and we shall discuss it in a later video, or one of you guys in the comments ask about it.
I know the weapon you're referring to. I have to say that it is not of much use. Regenerative power is something that the species seem to have picked up on, and many of them also have extremely advanced immune systems, so not much will work. In addition, the race is very adaptable, and if we actually were to come across a poison against them who use it, they'd most likely gain resistance to it soon after.
That is quite a fucking pickle. Is there anything that works against them?
If it's not regular steel on bullets, there's actually a special butadienic acid developed by the Death Watch that ruins the target's organs or inside.
We'll talk about the Death Watch in the Behemoth series.
It is used in Hellfire rounds, and it works fairly well against anything that's made of flesh. But since Tyranids don't even have any kind of real armor, it seems to work best against them.
Then why have any of you fucking idiots had the idea of filling a massive space-sized spray can with a constant stream of oxygen, Promethean, and this Hellfire compound and spray the fuck out of the Tyranids organically while still in space?
That's a great idea, my lord. You are truly the most intelligent being in the galaxy.
Sigh. Sometimes I wish I had and trained you Custodies to be mindless automatons without feelings or emotions. It gets lonely here sometimes.
Oh my, Emperor, you are truly the most funny being in the galaxy as well.
Fucking automaton.
Well, my lord, what needs to be understand is those methods.
So we're talking about those sleepy, soulless tin skeletons now. Do tell me what the fuck they have been up to.
You know of them? Well, I wouldn't say I'm as bad as the Tyranids. I, think.
And that has concluded today's video. I hope you guys have enjoyed another TTS breakdown. Stay tuned for next Sunday. I'm shooting to get another TTS out there, and then towards the week of Valentine's Day, on Valentine's Day, or maybe the Sunday before Valentine's Day. That's when I'm planning on releasing the Behemoth series. So wish me luck on that, on all of that, because that's going to be a headache of an and a half, just trying to get all that work done. But yeah, thanks again, guys. This is NV Videos signing off. Well, anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you would, please leave a like, subscribe, and most importantly, have a nice day.